any issues.
Hey,
All right, Carly, how's it going?
good. Can you hear
Awesome.
me okay?
Yeah, I can. Absolutely. Everything good on your end?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, my
Sick.
lighting's kind of meh.
I mean, that's
I'm
kind of
in
the whole
bed.
idea of this is to be a little bit more of like a punk approach anyway. So I'm glad that it's not overly, like amazing and studioed out with microphones and all that shit. It makes it a little bit closer to home.
Cool, because I'm eating breakfast.
Sick. No worries.
It's Sunday morning.
Yeah, yeah. No, I want to say first of all, thank you very much for taking the time this morning. This is absolutely awesome. It's been kind of one of those things with the time differences to make sure to mention to people. So I thought about it. I was like, oh, I hope I have to say something because I don't want to fuck that up again.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said something because I do not know my time
I-
zone.
it's so weird too, like with Chicago especially or Illinois. I mean, it's right there, so you don't think anything of it. But I was going to have on Beaver of MH Chaos, and all of a sudden I like realized I was like, oh fuck, we're not in the same time zone. So
Oh
yeah, yeah,
no,
not
yeah.
good. But anyway, yeah. No, thank you very much for taking the time. This is so rad, and I'm really excited to dig into the stuff that we got for today, and as well as stuff that you have coming up with the band. Before digging into that though, and you were mentioning eating, I wanted to touch on something local as far as for you. If myself and my wife do some traveling, if we're coming through Chicago or local to you, what's a local eatery or a spot that's a must a must stop?
My favorite place probably in Chicago is Handlebar. It's over in like Wicker Park on North Avenue.
Okay.
It's like vegan, vegetarian friendly place. So that's just personally my favorite spot. I would say it would just depend on what you're looking for. But if I had to recommend something, that'd probably be it.
Sick.
That's
Awesome.
my go-to.
I love that. I mean, anytime that we go over there, it seems like the food, no matter where we go, is like something that's absolutely popping. So that's awesome. And I've never heard of that place too, so we're gonna have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, definitely check it out next time you're around.
Sweet. Okay. We went through my band when we came through actually playing the show there a couple months back. We had hit a spot called the Boiler Room. It's a like a pizza.
Okay. Yeah. I love the Boiler Room. They
Insane.
have they used to have back in the day. I don't know if they still have it. It used to be a PBJ. I think it was like
Yes, that's what we
five
had.
bucks or something, and it was like this
Yeah.
big slice of pizza, a shot of Jameson, and I think a PBR is what it
PBR.
was. I don't know if they still have that. They still have that?
That's what we got. It was
Oh,
out
okay,
cold.
yeah.
It was
All right.
awesome.
That's what they're known for. But they have good pizza, so that place rules.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I had always thought of Chicago as like the deep dish, kind of some of the other places like Giordano's and Gino's and stuff like that. And Damien, who's in my band, the guitarist, he had mentioned that place, and he's like, dude, it's thin crust, and you're never gonna think of Chicago the same way. I'm like, whoa, yeah, he wasn't lying.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I am an avid deep dish girl for life. I've had a lot of
Okay.
debates between people on, New York or, Chicago style deep dish, and a lot of people are like more New York side, and I love New York pizza, but,
Yeah.
I'm deep dish forever.
Right. I know. I've talked to certain people too, and like and asked about like local things, and they mentioned other things other than pizza, and I'm like that rules. But when I go to Chicago, I really that's all I'm looking for is like a new like pizza spot for sure. So
There's Pequods. If you're
yeah,
ever looking for some like serious deep dish, Pequods is my
I've never even
recommendation.
heard of that.
It's real good.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Sick. All right. So moving on from that, as far
Yeah.
as musical interests and early interests, when developing these early interests in music, tell us about a band song or an album that resonated with you early on, something that just kind of started piquing you, looking into it a little bit further, or wanting to hear more from.
Yeah. So, that's a very broad range because I feel like even from an early age, I was listening to music. Even just like when I was like a little kid, I was listening to like kids music. Like I had like this little tape deck thing with a little microphone on it. And I don't know, I just had these tapes, and a lot of the music was like about like dinosaurs, like it's like educational things about like dinosaurs and stuff. And I
Okay.
loved it. I loved it. I went through like this huge dinosaur obsession as a kid, and I loved all these tapes about dinosaurs. I listened to them all the time.
That rules.
And my parents, listened to music as well when I was growing up. I would say like some early albums from way back then would be my mom was really into like the B-52s, the Supremes, stuff like that I really kind of caught on to. Elton John, that kind of stuck with me permanently. As far as more developmental stuff later, it's kind of funny because last night I went to go see DRI at this
Okay.
local
Yeah.
venue called Reggie's, and in high school, I really got into like thrash, and I would say that was a really big developmental point. My love for like fast music, Snuff, we play fast a lot of the time.
Mhm.
Uh, that's kind of our thing. And I would say, I think I saw them when I was like, I can't remember if I was 17 or 19 when I saw them for the first time at Reggie's. And last night, they're on their 40th anniversary tour right now.
Oh shit.
So I
Okay.
went and saw them last night, kind of back at the same place where it all started for me. So
Oh dang.
that was
Wow.
really cool. Like they still got it. Like it doesn't matter, 40 years, whatever. Like they're still thrashing. It's still good.
That rules. I mean, so you had mentioned as far as like your mom's interest, was there anything as far as like your dad's side? Did he bring a little bit more of like a, did he have like a heavier interest in music, or where
No,
did that
not
introduce to
really.
you? Oh, okay.
Uh, so honestly, that probably started to happen in middle school. I want to say like I was like in the fifth grade ish. With that, I remember honestly, Metallica was a big one for me.
Mm.
I had a cousin. He was like really into Metallica. He was into like new metal. Honestly, he was into. I remember the first time he ever played. It was Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory,
Okay.
and honestly, I stand by that album forever. Like if they were still like a band and they were like, oh, we're doing a Hybrid Theory anniversary tour, I'd be all over it.
Be there, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But he like we were in my grandpa's car and he put that album in and I was like, what is this? I'd never heard anything like it before. I was like, what is this?
Okay.
And I don't know, that was like a big turning point for me because then I started listening to I listened to the radio a lot at that time. I used to have, this was in the time of like Walkman,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's kind of crazy to think about it now because it seems like this ancient device
Yeah.
compared. So this is like in the time of Walkmans, carrying around like a book of CDs, things like that. So to lighten that load, sometimes I would just listen to the radio. I had like a little cassette player with the radio, and I started listening to. There used to be an alternative station here in Chicago called 94.7 The Zone, RIP, if any of you remember that.
Okay.
But that was like my go. I discovered so much music on that. I also used to go to the library with my mom and used to be able to like check out CDs at the library,
Yeah.
and I would
Okay.
take that shit home and burn it. Um, yeah, remember burning CDs?
Totally, absolutely. Bring it back like you're back to the library in 20 minutes and like you're already done with it. Oh yeah, I need more.
Yeah, no, exactly. So
Poor
I would
people don't
say
realize what you're doing.
one of the big things from a burned CD at the library that got me going was Hole's Live Through This. That
Okay.
album, yeah, that album was and still is like an insanely influential part of even the how I even do music. I remember one time I was listening to that album. It was after I moved out here to Chicago, and I think I was still, I don't know, like 23, living in my first apartment. And I remember I was driving to work, and I was listening to it, and it's like, I'm listening to Courtney Love. Everyone has their opinion on Courtney Love, but I was just like listening to it, and I was kind of like, damn, like she's really like she's laying it out. And I
Sure.
was like, I wonder if I can ever do this. And that was the
That's so
first like
sick.
that was like the first thought in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess whatever personal like thoughts or or kind of behind the whole thing with Kurt and everything, it is what it is. But I mean, as far as being, young and an impressionable woman and kind of seeing her up there just confidently laying it out and fucking doing, what it is that she has to do. Like I've always commended her for that, as far as going up and just be like, this is what I'm
She
doing. I
doesn't
don't give a
care.
fuck. Yeah,
She doesn't
I
give a
love
fuck,
that.
and she doesn't. And I don't know, it's like so many celebrities are like problematic, or there's a lot of rumors surrounding that one in particular.
Mm,
But I got to give credit where credit is due,
sure.
and that album was huge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually saw Hole back in high school, she's like the only OG member at this point.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like, I don't know, they still played the songs though. And I was like, I still love this.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And I mean, you mentioned the CD players too. Like, it's like you think of all the terrible things going on in the world, but like trying to walk somewhere and having that portable CD player and just trying to get through a song without skipping, it felt like it was the end of the world. Like,
Yes.
I just want this song to work, please, Jesus.
Yeah. I went through a couple of them. The cheap ones were always the ones that skipped. At one point, I had a really nice, like, Sony one.
Uh,
And that one was always like really good, and then it just, it died one day. It just shit out on me. And I
I
was
feel
like,
like there was
okay,
one at 1.2 that I bought like a pretty nice. I think it was like a Sony one, and it was labeled as all all that shit, and it was still a crock, absolute jip.
hmm yeah,
So, with the so you touching on going to the library, possibly discovering new music through that route. There was different things as far as having looking at a CD and looking through the thank you notes or possibly show flyers or even video game or movie soundtracks. Do you remember anything? Does anything come to mind as far as a band that you discovered from any of these other routes that introduced you to a band that you love, maybe even still today?
oh man, I'm trying to think because I feel like all the bands that I like, the immediate things that come to my mind, like movie soundtracks, I think of like The Crow,
Yeah,
but by that
totally.
time it's like I already was listening to The Cure, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, right,
Or
right.
I was already listening to Nine Inch Nails or whoever else is on that. I don't even think Nine Inch Nails is on that soundtrack. I don't remember. Uh,
Makes sense.
but oh man, I'm not gonna lie, I can't think of anything immediately that comes to my mind
Sure. Okay.
because now I feel like back then, especially, it was really hard to figure out where things are coming from or what they are, unless you have, like you said, like the insert or something like that. Because now I hear things all the time in technology. I just pull out that Shazam and it tells me, and I
Yeah.
like it on my Spotify and I save it forever.
Yeah. There it
So we've
is.
come a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah, so and I certainly, I mean, it took a little while as far as getting into stream, personally, just because I felt like I was losing a little bit of that element of, like supporting the band or whatever, even though when you really look into it, it's like you kind of are, but if you go to a show and buy a shirt, you're more so supporting them. But
Right.
um,
Yes.
I appreciate the shit out of streaming now, like it's like, oh my, there's so many times that it's just like a godsend, so. There's
hmm
definitely the place up for it, for me personally. I know some people still kind of go with physicals and whatnot, but I love it. I don't know how I went so long without
Yeah.
it.
Right. No,
um,
I feel you.
when being introduced as far as to your local music scene, so you'd mentioned going and seeing DRI, and was it more of a like a big bill concert type thing that you went to first, and then you started discovering local bands, or how did that go?
Okay, so that's a good question. So around, I think when I first was at that show that I was talking about, Reggie's at DRI, that was kind of like a show out here where I kind of started to like meet a few people. Like I didn't really know anybody out here then. After that, I kind of like after I started meeting people and like making friends, I kind of started going to more shows there, or as many as I could. Even before I lived out in Chicago, because I'm from Northwest Indiana originally.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I would come out here and come to shows, and then I remember, I can't believe I'm going to talk about this. Okay, so I remember one of the first DIY spots that I went to was this place on the south side and back of the yards, and it was like this house called Sludges, and I don't.
Sounds
it
awesome.
was it was basically owned by like this like seedy old guy that people called Sludge, and
Sick.
I used to go there with like some of my friends and stuff because they used to have like grind shows or whatever in the basement. And I didn't really know a lot of people in like that scene at that point because you have like a crossover kind of, you see there's a crossover, between people going to shows everywhere. So
Right.
um, that was kind of my first rodeo with the DIY scene. I just remember it was like a lot of people and there was like a backyard and there was like this cooler full of jungle juice and any of you ever watching remember this Eric Miller projectile vomiting all over the back of my head.
Oh my God.
It's funny because I told that story the other day. I'll just never forget that place.
Oh shit. Sounds awesome. I mean, it's
Uh,
so funny because like you pull up to we had played not too long ago in Detroit, and I guess I didn't realize that it was a basement show. So we pulled up and it was like a house spot or whatever. And it's like you have sometimes where you don't quite know how it's going to turn out. That show was so sick. There was so many kids there, and I mean it was just like such a good vibe, and like you always, I mean, you
yeah.
have to appreciate that when everybody's just there to have a good time and fuck around and have some drinks or smoke or do whatever. I mean, but just as far as the overall like kind of theme of everybody being there to have a good time, like I absolutely appreciate that about that shit. It's awesome.
No, I personally like I appreciate a venue all day long, but if you were gonna ask me if I prefer to play a venue or like a DIY spot like a basement,
I'm there.
I'm always gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So within any of these, are any of these spots that you originally went to early on? I know you mentioned Reggie's, and that's something that's still around. But any of the DIY spots, are they still around at all?
we've lost so many.
That sucks.
Even when I think about like our early, like our art at Snuffed, like our early shows, I think our very first show was at the Galaxy, which
Hmm.
is still around. It's awesome. I love that place. And then our second show, I think, if I remember correctly, was at this place called Ranchos Huevos, and it was like a little house in Pilsen, which is like south, and it was like a little basement, and that place no longer is there, unfortunately.
Oh
Um,
man.
there's a lot of places even before my time here that I never went to, that are gone. There used to be like a house in Humboldt Park, excuse me, that was predominantly a lot of like grindcore shows. Um, and that, I think the owner of the house had decided that he wanted to sell the house or something like that. And so everyone, the people that moved there had to move out, and it's
Selfish
gone.
bastard.
It kind of sucks. I feel like the more time that goes on here, things become more built up,
Yeah.
gentrified, things like that. So you lose a lot of those locations, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's a
So
shame. I mean, having some of the things, and I guess it's more one of those things. Maybe it's a learning lesson to appreciate the good things while they're still around. Because before you know it, they end up, not there, and you kind of look back at all that. So we even have some local venues, around here where it's like, yeah, it's cool. You don't want to play there all the time to kind of, be at the same spots, but then also you're like, man, it could be gone tomorrow. Especially with how stuff is right now. You have so many
yeah,
different things that are going under, and maybe not so right now, but like the last couple of years for sure. So
no,
yeah.
I know, and I'm still grateful for the DIY spots we do have, which, sometimes a new one pops up here and there.
Hmm.
And, I think we've got a, we've got, well, I can't say anything yet, so never mind.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So now you, as far as within Snuffed, in meeting the rest of the band initially at the Albion House, and getting
Hmm.
pitched, as far as the idea to do vocals yourself. You mentioned listening to the music over and over, practicing with it. What was, those initial times? Was it something where you were just going in your car and playing this stuff and yelling over, or did you have, did you just bring it back home and go over it over and over, or how was it more of a practice of your style or cadence to the music? Like, what was the process initially?
So I met Ryan, our bassist at Albion House at a show, and I met Joe and Aaron another time at a different show at Empty Bottle. I met up with Ryan there, and then he introduced us, and they were just kind of like, "Hey, we have this band, and you want to do vocals for it?" And I was like, "Sure. You have music written, whatever." They're like, "Yeah, we have music." So they sent me all the songs, and I started listening to them over and over, and I'm someone I write lyrical ideas. I got it on deck. You know what I'm saying? Like I have ideas just like laying around, and I just kind of started taking some of those ideas and kind of started messing with it. As far as I kind of do it in my head. I normally do it in my head a bunch of times before I'm ever doing it out loud because I have to kind of make it sound a certain way, or I kind of have to figure out how I want it to sound before projecting it. And I ended up just kind of like listening to it over and over, and then taking what I had and seeing if I could make anything fit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of how that became a thing. And then, we started practicing, and next thing you know, we're out of practice, and I think Aaron say, "Oh yeah, we've got this show on whatever day," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, we're playing with Bib," and I was like, "I fucking love Bib. Like, we're playing a show with Bib. Like,
Whoa,
I
really?
didn't know about this. This is our first show. We opened for Bib at the Galaxy,
Whoa.
which was huge, especially like for me. I love Bib, so and that was probably like the scariest moment of my life.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
all. It's kind of one of those things where you can jump right in, and it's like, okay, well, if you flop, you flop, and you kind of know whether you want to do it or not, or it
yeah,
could be a whole other thing where you might psych yourself out with things taking too long and waiting a long time. So I mean, there's different ways, and that's certainly a way to kind of go into it is just to jump right in. Shit, it's
yeah.
awesome.
It was go time. It was good. It was worth it. I fucked up, but it's like I'm the only one who know that's how they
Yeah,
say.
sure.
Nobody knows you fucked up. You're the only one, and it's like, okay, but I know I fucked up.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, as far as those lyrical things, though, and writing, and you mentioned kind of having like a poem book or writing a lot of like poetry initially. Was any of that stuff, at some point, something that you kind of had put to other music, or it was kind of inspired by a certain song's like music, and you were kind of writing your own things too, or was it just writing in like a free form that you were interested in?
It's a free form. I
Okay.
usually write in a free form. So how that kind of works is the writing process is it's so grueling because sometimes it's like I'll just come up with an idea. Like I'll just keep going. Like I'll come out with like multiple ideas at one time. And other times it's like I'm just waiting months and months. I've got a writer's block. I don't know what's going on. I hate everything. And I for a lot of those songs, I would say the inspiration, it's very free form. It's ideas that maybe started as a phrase or a poem, sometimes even a word. Sometimes I'll think of a word in my brain and I'll just write something completely based off that word. Uh, I like a rhythm to another song in my head, and it kind of helps me like sound it out. You know what I'm saying? Or like
Oh, okay.
make it flow. But then I realized like, okay, this is gonna sound different later on because it's obviously not gonna sound like this.
Yeah. Right. Right. Okay.
So it's kind of weird. My writing process is kind of like a series of tubes, and there's a bunch of little hamsters going through the tubes with the idea.
Just navigating.
Yeah, I I also feel like unfortunately I'm at my most creative whenever I'm like in the pits, and I think maybe that's true for a lot of people. Any kind of lyrical inspiration, it's easier to get the creative juices flowing when you are having turmoil.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
But
so I would say a lot of that comes from that.
okay. And mention it as well as far as, like the earlier mention of like listening to whole and different things. How does it come out, as far as your style, when you did start, singing or screaming out loud and you're like, oh, were there initial kind of styles or, ways that you started and you're like, I need to kind of adjust this. Maybe this is hurting. I need to look into changing a couple of things. How did adjustments happen over time?
Yeah, so that's okay.
Excuse me.
So when I first started doing vocals, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. And I mean, I'm not like totally unfamiliar
Oh my
to
God, excuse me.
singing. When I was in middle school, I was in my choir for a couple years, so it's like I'm familiar with warming up and things like that. That's really information that I've carried with me since then.
Mm,
But as far as projecting a different type of sound that isn't just like a normal sound that you would emit, that is the most challenging part, I think, because when I think about it, I feel like when I first started out, it was a lot of more like yelling or like the only way I could describe it is like head voice and chest voice. Does that make sense?
okay. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a different way of that I haven't heard, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. So Kind of elaborate on that.
Like I feel like the first time I had like a head voice. So what that means is kind of like higher sounding. I'm kind of pushing from a different place that maybe I really shouldn't be pushing from. Because you know sometimes I would tear up my throat. Because you're not supposed to push from your throat. And it's kind of crazy to think about because now even now, like I feel like just recently I have really gotten to a more comfortable place with my vocals. You know, it's like I know what I need to do to warm up now, or you know, I know where I need to push from, and it's like it's not head voice anymore. It's all chest voice.
Hmm.
It's all from my diaphragm. It's as a woman, my voice is like a little bit like lower of a range, which honestly is in my favor uh, in this genre. So it's kind of just like I've found a better sound that works for me now. Like I feel like I sound more like I want to sound, but it's almost completely different. When I like listen to our earlier recordings, like I don't sound the same anymore. It's different now.
I can, I mean, I can say too, as far as like more recent shows, like the live shows that I've heard, as opposed to your guys' like earlier recordings, there is a difference, you know, as far as I don't know if that was like uh, a kind of a on purpose, you know, thing, or if it was just something where kind of with time, you know, you're like, okay, well, this hurts. This doesn't seem like it's right. Maybe I'll do it, but okay, so it's a little bit more concentration on a different approach to it.
Yes.
Okay, dang. With you know, so within you mentioned this first show with Bib playing with Snuffed. I read in there was a interview that you did as far as having a conversation before. Was it this show? You had a conversation with a friend Hannah from the band Lil Tits, and she
Hannah,
gave you some advice as far as before the show. And what was some of that? And did it help, or was it still just as nerve wracking?
man, oh, Hannah and I used to work together, and
Oh, okay.
so that's how that's how we know each other. You know, she was doing Little Tits at the time, and I love Little Tits, so I was just like, well, what do I do?
It's a
And
wild name.
she's just like, she's like, you just got to do it. She's like, you just got to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, I just got to do it. And honestly, advice. Hannah and I used to spend quite a bit of time together outside of work as well. And it's funny because I was thinking about it recently, and I talked to her recently actually about this. And she used to have a phrase that has stuck with me forever, and I don't feel like I'm abiding by it. But her thing was always just don't be a little bitch. You just don't be a little bitch. That was her biggest advice: is don't be a little bitch. And I was like, okay, can't be a little bitch.
Go, just go in and do it and get it done. And I guess the faster that you do it, then you get to come back off and chill. Shit.
Yeah.
Don't be a
Yep.
bitch.
So
I
that
love
is
that.
Hannah's most valuable piece of advice that she has ever given me, and it has been relevant or useful in just more than show life. So it's a good
Oh,
life
that's funny.
lesson.
I love that. All right. Well, so as far as your first time recording, you know, I was wanting to touch on a couple of firsts as far as you know, getting into a band here. Your first time recording, was that on the initial EP that you guys did then for Snuffed?
So our demo we recorded, it was our friend Brendan. We recorded it it was like a practice space, you know, and it's like that very gritty demo sound. But I will say that our recording has evolved as well. We're
Hmm.
releasing our album later this year, and we recorded that with Andy over at Bricktop, and he's amazing. He makes the whole process really
Oh yeah.
comfortable. It's a really nice space, so I'm really excited for everyone to like hear like a real like full on like studio recording, and I think we're gonna be recording some other things just to have it like on deck for when we need it, coming up pretty soon as well. But
Man, that
my
rules.
first like real recording, I would say, where I'm in a room with the headphones on and there's like, all the soundproofing on the walls and everything. It's a very different experience from recording in someone's practice space. It's completely different. I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. And then to have somebody there that's just very professional and makes everything very comfortable, like really, really helps um, a lot.
Yeah.
And I
What?
thought, because,
I'm
like,
sorry.
what?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say we did 10 songs. We recorded 10 songs, and I thought, okay, we had 2 days for vocals. I was like, I'm gonna do 5 and 5, and then I ended up doing 9, and then one because I just couldn't push the last one down. I was just done.
Damn.
And so I
Oh
came
my
back.
God.
I came back and did one song, and my voice was shot for a week.
Oh
It
my
was.
God.
It didn't even matter if I warmed up, whatever. Like I just had to. I was done because I mean, you're just doing takes over and over and over again, and to be able to project that over and over again, I mean, it's a lot.
Okay. With
Yeah.
that first time, as far as with your guys' demo, was it something where you were singing straight through, or were you doing kind of punch-ins to kind of help with, saving your voice and not beating it up, or was that a nerve-wracking experience, as opposed to, playing shows and then now having to be in front of somebody, kind of a vulnerable moment?
I would say nothing is as nerve wracking as being in front of people and everybody looking at you.
Oh, okay.
Um, Recording, even in that practice space, I mean, that was fine. Like, I didn't really feel super nervous. I didn't really feel like I knew what I was doing, because it was my first time ever doing something like that. So I was kind of just winging it.
Mm,
Um, but it was, I mean, it was fine. I would say that
okay.
that experience is a lot more relaxing than, I would say I had a more nerve wracking experience being in a more like, okay, like we're paying like a lot of money to record this record, so like you got to get it right, or it's got to sound how you want it to sound.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Whole different stress.
it's completely different. But I would say that I'll never be more nervous uh than I have been like just being in front of people, because it's like everyone's looking at you.
Yeah. Has time brought anything as far as like a certain comfort or way that you deal with the anxiety that comes with that?
Yeah. So I will be honest and say that I don't ever not get nervous. I always get nervous. It does not matter. That is always something that's gonna be there, I think. But at the same time, I feel like once I'm finally up there, once I'm like comfortable, I am starting to feel a little more comfortable. I'm not a big talker on stage. I don't really have a lot to say. I'm not, I kind of just, unless it's something important, I'm up there to play music and, not, the next band's going to come play.
I love that.
And, but now it's kind of like, I feel like I can say something if I want to, maybe, or my stage presence, I'm just getting a little more comfortable with like moving around and things like that. As opposed to before, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just in sheer terror. But that was like in the very preliminary stages. Like Bib, I just never, like the first show we ever played, I'll probably never be as scared as I was at that moment ever again.
But
That
and
was,
that's kind of one of those things where it's like once you make it out of that, you're like, oh, okay, like this isn't all that bad. Like I got through it. We can do the next show and get that a little bit more comfortable too. And yeah, so that's funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Jesus.
it's still developing. Even like it's a process. I feel like every single time.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome. For whatever reason, I don't have a problem playing in front of people. I don't have an issue with a crowd in front of us or people staring right at. The thing that always bothers me for whatever reason is setting up. Like setting up and breaking down just so I'm not taking up too much time from like the band
Mm.
who's behind me, or I'm, setting up shit too quick and then all of a sudden I get in the middle of like the first couple songs, I'm like, fuck, this stuff's way too high or it's just way too goofy. Like I always put that pressure on me. So maybe that helps me with coping when we're actually playing, just because like I spent so much time like trying to build, the drum setup, and that part makes me anxious to where it doesn't really
Yeah,
bother me
you're
when
like
people are
you
looking.
don't want everyone else to be like, God, this fucking band's taking forever to set. No,
Yeah.
I get it. Even though I'm not really up there, setting up the equipment, there's an on-running joke that the vocalist doesn't help carry anything. Which is kind of, well, I have a bad shoulder that I actually had surgery on.
Oh,
So
okay.
I mean, that's my excuse. That
Yeah, you
helps. You
got
know
you got
what
a
I'm
little
saying? Like
tux there for sure.
lightweight things, I'll help out. But as far as like the pressure of like, oh, okay, we gotta go.
Hmm.
Um, I would say the guys are pretty swift about it, but
Yeah.
I've definitely, I've been in places. I remember one time we played a show at a DIY spot, and there was a band before us, and I mean, I'm just like, they just took like 30. I mean, they took like straight up like 20, 30 minutes to like take their shit
To
down.
set up? Oh, to
I
break
mean,
down?
they took forever to set up, and then they took forever to take down. I don't remember their name,
That doesn't make sense.
but
Yeah, I mean, we don't even. Yeah, we don't have to put that out there or anything.
no,
But
yeah, no,
yeah,
of course
same.
not. But I'm saying I don't remember, but I was like, this is insane
It
because
doesn't make
it's got to
sense.
cut into our set time.
Right, right. Yeah, and then you
You
go and
know,
all of a sudden you look and it's 1 a.m. and the second band's still on. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Hurry up.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe a little dual note for anybody who's in bands. Just be conscious of the bands before and after, and help each other out. Shit.
yeah. No, yes, exactly.
That's funny. I can appreciate all those things. What about as far as traveling out of state or doing like a small run of shows? Tell us about that. Was it a positive experience? Did anything go wrong? That it was a learning experience?
Okay. Sorry, this immediate moment that pops into my head, but I'll get to it. So out of town shows, I would say most of them have been pretty smooth. Um, I would say there was one, oh, we did a weekend run. I'm trying to remember where we went because we did a couple recently. We went to Cincinnati, and then, oh my God, I don't know why the other place, everything runs together, and I just can't remember everything.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
but we were on our way back. We're like right outside of Chicago. We're like, I'm ready to be home. It's cold. We ran out of gas on the side of the highway. Just ran out of gas.
Oh my
Just
God.
done. And so we're trying to call AAA, trying to figure it out. And luckily, this guy, I don't know, this is a job apparently. I don't know what they're called. But this guy just pulls up, fills out a flare. He's like, you guys need gas? I got gas. He's like, you got to fill out this paper, go online, and whatever. And we were like, okay. And he put gas in the van, and um, that was it. We were on our way. And then,
What the? This dude just showed up, or was
yeah,
it
I don't
something
know
you
who he
guys found
was.
online?
We didn't find him online. He just rolled up behind us on the side of the
Weird.
freeway in the middle of the night.
It's like a whole new level. Like cats always trying to like wash your windshield and shit when you're stopped at a stoplight. Like, I don't need it, dude.
Yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, well,
Whoa.
yeah, but it was like he gave us some kind of like official paper we had to fill out and like pay this fee online. It was only like $8 or something, but I don't know. We just got right place, right time. That's
Yeah.
all I gotta
Wow.
say.
Holy shit.
We recently went to Champaign, Nashville, and Lexington, and Nashville was the farthest one, and we went to what was it? We were pulled over in this parking lot. We're taking a break. We have a friend that works at a brewery over there, so we were like going to the brewery, and the van was like leaking exhaust, and there was like some smoke, and
Mm-mm.
I was just like, damn it! Like, I hope we make it home because some of the guys had to work early in the morning, and so
Oh no.
yeah, it was my birthday the next day too. I was out.
Oh
My body hurt so
no.
bad. I slept my whole birthday. I slept the whole day.
Holy
I was
shit.
so I was so fucking tired. And it
You
was,
guys made it home then, I take it?
yeah, we made it home.
Oh,
hmm
okay. Man,
Yeah,
that sucks.
but we were
Fucking
nervous, and
vehicles,
we were
man.
like, unfortunately, this van has. It was our friend's van that we were renting from him, but we were like, it's been good to us, but I don't think we can take this out anymore after this.
So it was the same van both times?
Yeah,
Two different trips? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're like, there's some juju going on here. I don't think I need to be a part of anymore.
yeah. He's seen his day.
Yeah. Bless him. I mean,
Yeah,
for helping out though. Shit, that's rad. I mean, that's cool.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
so with your guys' two releases, I wanted to dig into as far as a personal favorite track, as far as from Mind's Eye, and then as well as the single there, and maybe like a story behind some of the lyrics or the song in particular. But what's a favorite track from each of these releases here?
Oh, geez. I feel like this is a loaded question because in my mind, as an artist, I'm always like, I hate everything I write. Uh,
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
touche.
So, Mind's Eye, I would say, I mean, I would say it's kind of like different. So I would say maybe my favorite song off Mind's Eye is like No Sleep. That song, I just like it. You know, it's fast, it's fun, it's kind of like a banger.
Mm.
Uh, the lyrics behind that, it's nothing deep. That one was literally just like my downstairs neighbor had this drunk girlfriend that was screaming outside one day, and I literally got 1 hour of sleep in between the two jobs I was working. So I went into my job the next day and I was like, hey, I got 1 hour of sleep because of my stupid neighbor's girlfriend. And my boss was like, okay, go home. And I was like, okay. And
Sick.
so that is where that stemmed from.
Okay.
Yeah, that I don't know. And then um, for the two songer, Rats of Sympathy, Skin Crawler. That one's a little deeper. That one's more of like a personal situation, I'd say. I would say that Rats of Sympathy, anyway, is more like, that song's kind of about like people who cry about their situation all the time and they never change it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, okay.
they kind of put everything out on display so they receive sympathy from others,
Hmm.
but they don't, it's like a validate. I don't know. That's kind of like the lyrics
Yeah, I see what
behind
you're
that, or
saying.
that idea behind that.
Okay.
And yeah, frustrations.
Okay. And so that one, honestly, like one of my favorite tracks, from the band too, and I'm like so stoked to, as far as this newest track that you guys just released, with the action for Afghanistan. What can you tell us about Circle of Dust? Absolute ripper, first of all. That song
Ooh,
fucking
thank
rules.
you. Circle of Dust. Well, it's really cool that to have Dwid on that track.
Yeah,
So that's
so
really
sick.
exciting. That's big. That's huge for us. So it was really an honor to have him, want to be a part of that. And Circle of Dust. I mean, what do you want to know about it?
Was there? So I guess, how did Dwid end up getting involved? As far as like with the feature and the writing, was that something that you had everything written already, or did he come in and he, kind of elaborated on, his parts as well?
So he got involved because I believe he reached out to our label guy, Sean. And
Oh yeah, shout
yeah,
out
yeah,
another
Sean.
city. Yeah. Okay.
And he reached out to Sean, I think, and said that he was interested in, doing something with us because he saw us at Drury North Fest, and I guess like he loved it, which is really cool.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so he wanted to do something with us, and we already had everything recorded for the album. And so on our album, on Circle of Dust will be on our upcoming album. However, on that album, it's just going to be me on that
Oh
track.
really?
Yes, yeah, because it was already recorded that way. However, we did this release with Dwid specifically for like the comp.
Hmm.
And sorry, I'm trying to think. All my brains are getting, you know. Um, so Dwid, sorry, when you get thoughts and then there's just too many of them and then they just keep going. That's kind of what's happening right now, and it happens
I
to
have to
me
tell
often.
myself every once in a while to take a deep breath and try to, process what it is that I'm trying to ask or
Yeah,
say.
no, exactly. It's kind of what's happening in this moment.
Yeah.
So, uh, Circle of Dust was something that was already written. I wrote those lyrics uh,
Okay.
some time ago. As far as Dwid's parts, and him, recording his part for our comp, um, I think I don't know how all recording things go. Like I don't know all the technicalities and how
Me
everything
either.
works.
So we'll just kind of fart around with, a couple of words that sound right.
Yeah, so I basically wrote in. I took the lyrics that we already had and I wrote in like where my parts are and where his parts would be, and then we sent all that over to him and he recorded like his parts.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so he recorded in Ohio. It wasn't something that he was like in town and just had stopped by or
No,
anything like
yeah,
that.
we didn't see him physically, unfortunately, for that. It's something that he had to do on his own, and he sent it over to us.
That's awesome. That rules. Yeah, like I say, I mean, it'll be even cooler now hearing a completely different take on the song because that song was next level. I mean, I was so stoked on that comp in general, just with every track that was on it. For as many bands as there were, like I wasn't wanting to skip through anything. It was fucking awesome. But your guys' song came up, and I was just like, holy shit! Like,
Oh, thank you. I can't wait.
congrats!
I can't
Like,
wait for
that's
you guys, like
awesome.
everyone to just like hear this album.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
when did the writing process as far as for the albums like as opposed to the single there did you guys were you guys already like writing right after that or how did that happen as far as starting to write for the album?
I mean, the album, I feel like we've been sitting on these songs for so long
Okay.
because, COVID really threw a wrench in everything.
Hmm.
Um, so, we had a lot of these songs already written. Or, I feel like we've been sitting on some of them for a long time, especially Circle of Dust. And it's just kind of like, as far as recording and things like that, everything got pushed back. We've been sitting on
Hmm.
these songs for so long because, with COVID, it's like we're not obviously not recording. We don't see each other. Like we just didn't. There's nothing going on. Nobody's doing anything.
Right.
So once things kind of started to, look a little better, we were able to record. And the thing is with vinyl turnaround after COVID is just insane.
Insane. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah, it
crazy.
is. It is.
So the vinyl turnaround time, I think, is really what has kept us from just doing it.
Hmm.
Because like we're done. Our album's done.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's really just um it's really just waiting on physically having everything we need before we do
Okay.
our release show and before we can tour and things like that. Because
That's
obviously
awesome.
having physical vinyls in that situation is, it's important. So
Hmm.
it's
Right.
kind of just a waiting game. We do have I can't say anything yet, but we do have some information coming soon on, our release show and things like that.
Sick. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully I'll have that day off and I can make it over and me and a couple of the boys can come out because I'm excited for that. And I haven't gotten to see you guys. You were, I think your surgery was right around when Sweatfest was,
It
and
was.
you guys were
Yeah.
scheduled on that. But yeah, it,
I know.
we'll
I
make
think
something
about
happen
it
for sure.
to this day, and I'm still sad about it because I'm like, everyone talks about how awesome Sweatfest was. It's a bunch of like my friends' bands played,
Mm,
and a lot of bands that I just really like. So I really
yeah.
would have wanted to play it, but it'll come back.
Hopefully
So
Brett will be doing it again. I'm hoping, I'm still trying to put a bug in his ear to, because he's done it. It's been 2 years now. And it's really cool. I mean, as far as just a showcase, even for like the Midwest, like, some of the stuff that's going on around and some of the bands that people are more familiar with. And you ask about, different people that are in California, the East Coast, and they mention kind of the same. And it's like, dude, there's some amazing bands. La Amarda was something that I just recently had maybe within the last year had like gotten onto. So sick. Never even
oh
heard of them
yeah,
before.
Lion Night. That was a good show. That was fun. We just played with them, and it was a good time.
Are they
They're awesome.
Indiana or are they Illinois?
They're Chicago.
Oh, are they? Okay. I don't know.
Mhm.
I was thinking they're from Indiana. Okay. Yeah, they rule for sure.
Yeah, they're good.
So
I'm from
what?
Indiana.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's where I got
Yeah.
the mix up. Okay, yeah. With the album or with the EP art, I wanted to touch on really quick here before we move on. As far as for Mind's Eye and working with Jeremy Miller, what can you tell us about the cover art and the logo? How that came about. Was that something that you guys had an idea for or a pitch at all?
Yeah, so the logo is completely separate from the artwork. So
Oh, okay.
the logo itself was originally, first of all, we didn't make our own logo. It's kind of a funny story. I'll tell it. So the logo that was on our very first flyer was the show with Bib, and it was just something
Mm-hmm.
that somebody drew up. I didn't know who drew it,
Just
whatever.
there.
So we saw that logo and we were just kind of like, should we just keep using this logo? Like, you know,
Oh, that's
we
it.
and we did, yeah. And so then, but we never, for the longest time, we didn't know who drew it. Aaron and Ryan go get tattooed by somebody. I don't remember how they knew this person. I don't remember like all the details. But come to find out, this person that they're getting tattooed by is the person who drew that flyer and drew that logo.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so then they were like, "All right, we're just gonna tip you extra fat because we just took your logo and we never knew."
Holy shit. Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
did he end up doing the cover art then too?
No, so Jeremy did the cover art. So Jeremy
Mm.
is a friend of, like, just like a hometown friend of mine from Indiana. You know, he's not someone, he doesn't have an Instagram, he doesn't have any art pages, anything like that. He's just a guy that I know that loves painting and is a really good artist.
Sick.
So he's a really good friend of mine. He doesn't live in Indiana anymore. He's kind of I don't know if he's still doing art. He like lives in Yellowstone and like works at Yellowstone and hikes all day, and he kind of goes everywhere all over the place. Which is really tight.
Yeah, that rules.
But he I don't know, I kind of just like, I came up with the idea of whatever that image was in my brain. I don't really remember. I think I was based off of like just multiple ideas. I'm thinking about the eye. I think I drew some inspiration from like a comic book. I think I drew some inspiration from like a tarot card. Just very random things that coagulated into my brain together. And I was like, hey, I sent him all the random pictures, and I was like, hey, Jeremy, like, can you draw me something that's like this, 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 this? And he's just like, okay. And then he did. And that's exactly how that came to be.
Oh damn! Was that something? Was it physical, or was it like? Did you guys get a physical copy of whatever it was that he did? Or?
I have the physical artwork
wow.
somewhere around in a little folder.
Dang!
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That rules.
Yeah.
I mean, digital stuff's cool too. You know, like I not to knock that, but it's always rad when you have something that's on the cover of something and it's an actual like physical copy of something that you can hang somewhere, and like that's the original it's based off of. Sweet.
Yeah. No, he did the cover for what's coming up next as well.
Oh,
and,
damn.
He did some stuff for Bobxlazar as well.
Okay. Now, okay, I wanted to, and I didn't put this in the notes at all when I sent you to, but I wanted to touch on that as far as, was Bobxlazar, that wasn't prior to Snuffed, was it? That was after?
No, it was after.
Okay.
It's like a little side project. It's, Ryan's in a million bands. I personally, between Snuffed and my job and all the other shit, and, the other guys, Scott and Max, or I'm sorry, Sean. His last name is Scott.
Scott. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean and Max, like they have, Max has a bunch of projects. Sean has, they have a different project together with somebody else. And, Sean's planning a wedding. Like, it's just, I'm not saying we'll never do anything again. I think that, occasionally in the right time, like we'll come back together for a show or something like that. But we're not like active, you know what I'm saying? Like we're not writing anything new right now. We're not playing any shows. Not to say we never will, but the time isn't really there at this moment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think like, especially like the last couple of years, especially when different people are just putting out stuff just because it's something, to hang out, it's an opportunity when you have a room full of musicians and it's like, hey, let's write something. We don't need to necessarily, like play shows with it or tour or anything. Like, let's just have a couple of things to throw online that it catches, like I feel like the Ohio scene right now is especially kind of like really jumping on that, where it's not necessarily that all these guys are in different bands and, they're putting out things to play shows every weekend with it. It's like every once in a while you kind of jump on it if the inspiration's there and have a little fun with it, just put some stuff out there to have something out there for sure. I love that.
Yeah.
So you're saying Sean was in that band?
No, sorry. My bandmate, his name is, Sean, my bandmate's name is Sean Scott. I called him Scott, but his name's Sean Scott.
Okay. This is yet another moment that I'm going to look like a complete dumbass. I'm thinking you're talking about Another City Sean.
Oh,
you're talking.
No,
this is a different person.
It was a totally different guy. Yeah, his name is Sean, and spelled Sean.
Okay. Boy, oh boy, he's gonna kill me when he watches this. This dickhead does not even know who I am. Oh my god. Okay, so one last thing with Snuffed before I let you go here and we wrap up. The grinders, the Snuffed grinders. I mean, where does this idea initially come from, and how did you end up, like, how did they come to be made?
All right, hold on. I'm gonna show you something. I gotta dig through my drawer for a second though, so bear with me.
Okay.
This is very much
Jesus.
me and my element, if I can find it. Okay, I did. So one day, Sean shows up, another city Sean,
Another city, Sean. Okay.
and he gives me this. See
Oh,
what
holy shit.
you got your little
Damn, that
grinder?
rules.
Oh, there's weed popping out of it, but so he gives me this, and he's like, "Yeah, we should make snuffed ones." And I love this because it's like a magnet, so it just kind of, I don't know. I don't
Holy
like the ones
shit.
you gotta
Okay.
screw them on. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So he's like, "We need to make snuffed ones," and we played a show with Gel recently
Hmm.
at a book club here in Chicago, and he rolled up. And he's like, "Hey, I got your grinders." And so here they are.
Holy shit, that is so sick.
But it's nice because you got your little thing. You got your little
Oh
compartment.
my god.
It's like so compartmentalized. Like there's literally, like you got your
What
little
the
shake
fuck?
thing with your little scraper in the bottom.
Damn,
It's
that is insane.
it's funny because I didn't really think anything. I was like these are really cool. Like I think these are really cool. But they flew. I did not
Oh
think they were gonna
man.
fly as fast as they did. So we're working on getting more. Um,
And are they blue, green, and red?
they're blue,
There's
green, red, and black.
Oh shit. Okay, so you made four
Yeah.
variations. How many were made of each?
I can't remember. I don't
I got.
remember.
We'll just say limited. You know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
worry
yeah.
about
I
that,
can't
order
remember.
them when they come back up on the site. Shit.
Yeah, they can't. Because after Sean gave us these, I posted something on my Instagram story like, "Oh, we have grinders," and a lot of people actually responded. They're like, "Oh my God, where do I get one? I want one." And so we put them up on our Bandcamp, and I think they flew off the Bandcamp, and I think we actually like maybe owe a couple people one.
Oh
uh,
shit.
so
That is
that
fucking
kind of creates a
awesome.
back order a little bit. Um, so we're just waiting.
So cool. Is there anything that comes to mind as far as yourself and a personal experience going to a show and having something like a grinder, where it's like, man, this is too cool not to go and grab and bring home?
Yes, it's a different grinder. Hold on, I'll show you.
All right.
I love this. My friend Dave Bob bought it for me. Oh, I hope I can find it. Sorry, my drawer is full of junk.
Oh, that's all right.
It's a literal junk drawer. So okay, this is like a credit card, right?
Okay.
But no, it's not. It's a grinder.
Oh my God. That is
It's
fucking
like a cheese
insane.
grater grinder where you take your weed and you can just go like that, which conventionally isn't really great, but if you're on the go, it is.
Dude,
Because
that's
it
that's
literally
so insane.
it'll fit into your wallet.
Oh my God. I mean, before that, had you ever? I guess I don't smoke, so I'm not all that like familiar with different items like that. But is that something like? Had you seen something like that before? I've never seen
I've
something like
never
that.
seen something like this before.
Holy shit, that's insane.
I was
Wow.
like, you know what? Leave it to sleep to bring about
Yeah,
the credit
right.
card grinder. Go figure. No other band would. Of course they would.
Dude, that is so so awesome. Look,
Yeah,
that is fucking amazing. Oh my God.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things probably as far as like little, because some bands they do coffee,
Right.
some people got hot sauce, all that stuff,
Yeah. It's
which I'm
fun to
not
find
opposed
something kind
to.
of random every once in a while. Maybe some sunglasses or something other than the basics. But I know it's a pain in the ass, sometimes to try to make that shit. So shout out to
Yeah,
Sean for getting those. Those are fucking sweet, man. They look
they're
awesome.
they're cool. I like them.
Yeah, nice. Well, look, Carly, this has been absolutely awesome. I really appreciate the time today. This is your opportunity if you want to, plug the band or anything that you have going on as far as shows. Let guys, everybody know what's coming up with the band here.
All right. Well, next weekend. What's the date? Sorry, I need to look at my calendar because I don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, the 16th, right? Yeah, the 16th is next Saturday. We're playing at Sub T, the CDO Scare release show. So we're really
Oh
excited to be a part of
man,
that. We love them. Like they're
totally.
we're really excited to be a part of that. And then we have another one real quick after that, but I gotta wait to say that detail.
Sure.
And then we're taking a break in May because I'm going on a work trip. We're gonna take some time to prepare for the release show. I think we might do a little recording in May as well, or early June, just to kind of just take a breather, and just like get like work on some stuff and not have to be like always just prepping for a show.
Right.
And then in June, once I can really tell more things, our uh oh sorry my earbuds died. Uh,
That's good.
the release show, the release show is going to be in June.
Awesome. That rules. I'm so excited. Whatever. If you guys end up doing like some touring or whatnot, hopefully we can get you around here and have you guys over, or vice versa. Figure out something maybe that would be a little bit more convenient for you guys. But yeah, that'd be sick.
I think
for sure.
I don't know all the dates are played yet. Nothing's like booked officially. Everything's like just like a very like a little ghost of a timeline right now. We're just kind of mapping it out.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Well, congrats on all the cool things going on, and I guess a cheers to even more that'll be coming from for the rest of the year though. So
Yeah.
stoked for the new album for sure.
Excited for everybody to finally like share it with me.
Right. right.
For a while, and we're ready to get it out.
It's cool. All right. Well, let me say thank you very much once again for taking the time today. This has been awesome. For anybody who hasn't seen it, I'll have it edited and it'll be on YouTube here within like the next month or so. And I'll tag you and send it your way as well too.
Awesome.
So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your
Absolutely.
time. And I'll talk to you later.
Yep. All right. Take care now.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.